Gandharvika Giridhari Shishi Radha Vinod Vihari Ju ki jai. Shri Govinda Gopinath Madan Mohan Ju ki jai. Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupara Shuttara Shata Shishimar Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Gosai Maharaj Shila Gurudev ki jai. Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupara Shuttara Shata Shishimar Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Gosai Maharaj ki jai. Nityalala Pravishtam Vishnupara Shuttara Shata Shishimar Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nityalala Pravishtam Vishnupara Shuttara Shata Shishimar Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosai Maharaj ki jai. Nityalala Pravishtam Vishnupara Shuttara Shata Shishimar Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosai Prabhupada ki jai. Nityalala Pravishta Maha Bhagavat Srila Gorksharas Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Nityalala Pravishta Srila Satchidananda Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura ki jai. Nityalala Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannathas Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga ki jai. Shri Rup Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Bhattadas Raghunath Shard Gosai Prabhu ki jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda ki jai. Nam Achay Shri Haridas Thakur ki jai. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जाय। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल व्रज मंडल मथुर वृंदावन धाम की जाय। सर्व अभिष्ट व्रत गिरिराज महाराज की जाय। श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड की जाय। श्री यमुना देवी गंगा देवी की जाय। श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जय। श्री भक्ति देवी की जय। श्री पूर्णमासी योग माया की जय। श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जय। जय श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। जय जय जय। আমি জয় ধ্বনি করছি এক সেকেন্ড। জয় শ্রী হরি নাম সংকীর্তন কি জয়। জয় শ্রী শিক্ষাষ্টক কি জয়। জয় শ্রী সচ্চিনন্দন গৌর হরি কি জয়। জয় শ্রী जय श्री श्री कृष्णदास कविराज गोसाई पाद की जय। श्री चैतन्य चरितमृत की जय। श्रील भक्तिविनोद ठाकुर संमोदन भाष्य की जय। श्रील भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर प्रभुपाद विवृत्ति की जय। जय श्री today is Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupad Shishimad Bhakti Vichar Yayavara Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki jai। Tadiya Shubha Avirbhav Titi ki jai। Shri Hari Nam Sankirtan ki jai। Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai। Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai। Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo Hare Krishna. Subal just came and told me that some people came to cut grass at my parents, like, sorry, to cut down, like, anyways, there's some work for some people. I need to go. I'll be just 1 second. All right, sorry, thank you for waiting, everybody. It's gonna come back at 8:30. Okay. All right, so we'll do the Mangala Charan and then begin. Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha। Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha। Shri Siddhanta Saraswati Vidito Gaudiya Gurvanvaye Bhato Bhanuriva Prabhata Gagane Yogora Sankirtanai Mayavarati Mingilo Daragatan Udritya Jiva Niman Krishna Prema Sudabdi Kahana Sukham Pradat Prabhung Tang Bhaje Vande Bhakti Vinodang Shri Gaura Shakti Swarupakam Bhakti Shastragya Samrajam Radharasa Sudha Nidhim Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Satchidananda Namine Gaur Shakti Swarupaya Rupanugavarayate Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Vrishabhanusutanvitavamattanum Yamunattatanaгаранандasutam Muralikalagita-vinoraparam Bhajagodrumakananakunjavidum Smaragoragadadarakelikalam Bhavagoragadadarapakshachara Shrinugoragadadara Charukatang Bhajagodrumakanana Kunjavidum Tavai vasmi na jivami tvaya vina Iti vigyaya devi tvang nayamang charanantikam Bhaktya vihina aparadalakshay Kshiptascha kama titaranga madhe Kripa mai tvam sharanam prapanna Vrinde namaste charanarvindam Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, now here are some special verses for Shikṣāṣṭakam. This is verses by Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura. Shri Swaruparaya Sangha Harsha Shesha Ghoshanam Shikshanashtakakya Krishna Kirtanaika Poshanam Prema Nama Matra Vishwa Jivanaika Sambharang Prema Dhama Devameva Nomi Gaura Sundaram Premodbhavita Harsheryod Vedadainyartimishritam Lapitam Gorachandrasya Bhagyavarbhirnishevyate Prabhur Shikṣāṣṭak Shloka Jay Pore Shune Krishne Prema Bhakti Tar Bade Dine Dine. Whoever reads or hears the Lord's Shikṣāṣṭak verses, and that person's loving devotion, that person's praying bhakti for Krishna increases day by day. Okay, so now we will recite Śrī Śikṣāṣṭaka within Chaitanya Charitamrita. This time I'm going to, I'm not going to read the translation this time because it took up like most of our session yesterday. I'm curious though how long it actually takes to recite this. I'm going to turn on my timer. It's just a good thing to know before we start. And yesterday it was it felt a little bit awkward singing a happy melody for this because it's so intense, like so much separation. And so I'm going to try a different melody. I don't know which melody I should do yet, though. Maybe just Gauranga Bolite Habe. Harshe Prabhu Kohen Shuna Saru Brahma. But then what melody do I sing? Chaitanya Panamajana. Chaitanya. Okay, I got it. Let's gonna get my mridanga. All right, so starting my timer. Let's see how long this takes. If it's way too long, then I won't do this before each program. But if it's only like, if it's about 5 minutes, then I think we can do it. Okay, I'm going to starting my stopwatch now. Harshe Prabhu ko henshuno sarup Ramarai Nama Sankirtana kalo parama upai Sankirtana jage kalo Krishna yaradhan Sheto sumedha pai Krishnera charan Krishna varnam tvisa Krishnam Sangopangrastra parshadam Yagyai Sankirtana prayari Yajanti hi sumedasa Nama Sankirtane hoy Sarva nartanash Sarva shubhadoy Krishne premer ulas Cheto darpanamarjanam Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadu Jivanam Anandam Buddhivardhanam Pratiparam Purnamrita Svadanam Sarvatmasnapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Sankirtana hoite papa sangsara nashana Chitta shuddhi sarva bhakti sadhana urgam Krishna premurgam premamrita yasvadan Krishna prapti sevamrita samudre majam Uthila vishara dainya pore apan shloka Jahan artha shuni sab Jai Dukha Shok Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis Taitrarpita Niyamita Smaranena Kala Etadrishi Tava Kripa Bhagavan Mamapi Durdaiva me drishamiha janina nuraga Aneka lokera vancha aneka prakara Vipate korilo anek namera prachar Kaite shuite jatha tata namaloy Kala desha niyam nahi sarva siddhi hoy Sarva Shakti Name Dila Koriya Vibhaga Amar Durdaiva Name Nahi Anuraga Jai Rupe Loile Nam Prema Upajay Tar Lakshan Shuk Tar Lakhan Shloka Shuno Swarup Ramarai Atranarapi sunichena tororapi sahishnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sada hari uttam hoya apana ke mane trinadhama tui prakare sahishnutta kore vriksha sama vriksha jeno katileha kichu na boloy shukaya maileho kare pani na magay jay jay magay tare de apan dhana karma vrishti sahe aner koro ye rakhan Uttam hoya Vaishnava habe nirabhiman Jive saman ajive saman dibe jane Krishna adhishtan E matta hoya jai Krishna namaloy Shri Krishna charane tar prema upajay Kahite kahite prabhur tanya parila Shuddha bhakti Krishna thai magate lagila Premer swabhava jaha premer sambandha Shehi mane Krishna mor nahi bhakti gandha Na dhanam na janam na sundarim Kavitam va jagarisha kamaye Mama janmani janmanishware भवतार भक्ति रहैतु की त्वयि धन जन नाही मागो कविता सुंदरी शुद्ध भक्ति देहो मोरे कृष्ण कृपा कोरी अति धन्य पुनः मागे दास्य भक्ति दान अपनारे कोरे संसारी जीव अभिमान आई नंद तनुज किंकरम पतितां मां विषमे भवां बुधो कृपया तव पार पंकज स्थित धूलि सदृशं विचिन्तया तोमार नित्य दास मुई तोमा पाशरिया पोरिया छो भवार नवे माया बद्ध होया कृपा करी करो मोरे पद धूलि समा तोमार सेवा करो तोमार सेवान ओ तोमार सेवा करो तोमार सेवान पुनः अति उत्कंठ धन्य होइलो उर्गम कृष्ण ठाय मागे प्रेम नाम संकीर्तन नयनम गलरश्रु धारया वदनं गद्गदरुदया गिरा पुलकार्निचितां वपु कदा तव नाम ग्रहणे भविष्यति प्रेम धन बिन व्यर्थ दारिद्र जीवाना दास कोरी बेतन मोरे देहो प्रेम दान रसांतारा वेशे होइलो वियोग स्फुराना उद्वेग विशार दैने कोरे प्रलापना युगायितं निमेषेण चक्षुषा प्रवृषायितं शून्यायितं जगत् सर्वं गोविन्द विरहेण मे उद्वेग दिवस न जाय खाना होइलो जुग सम वर्षार मेघ प्राय अश्रु वर्षे नयन ओ गोविंद विराहे शून्य होइलो त्रिभुवन तुषा नाले पोरे जेनो ना जाय जीवन कृष्ण उदासीन होइला करिते परीक्षण कृष्ण उदासीन होइला करिते परीक्षण सखी सब कहे कृष्णे करो उपेक्षण एते चिंतिते राधार निर्मल हृदय स्वाभाविक प्रेमार स्वभाव करिल उदय हर्ष उत्कंठा दैन्य प्रौढ़ि विनय एत भाव एक ठाई करिल उदय एत भावे राधार मान अस्थिर होइला सखी गण आगे प्रौढ़ि श्लोक जे पढ़िला से भावे प्रभु से श्लोक उच्चारिला श्लोक उच्चारिते तद्रूप आपने होइला अश्लीषवापाररतं पिनष्टु माम् अदर्शनान् मर्महतां करोतु वा यथा तथा वा विदधातु लम्पटो मत्प्राणनाथस्तु स एव न परा I'm sorry, I'm just trying to think of a melody. Anyways, I'll just do normal melody then. Ami Krishna pada dasi hote ho rasa shuka rashi alingiya kore atma sata Kivanate darashan ajarin mor tanuman tabute ho mor prananata ki bana de darshan jaren mor tanuman tabute ho mora prananata tabute ho mor prananata tabute ho mor prananata. All right, so Jai Śrī Śikṣāṣṭaka ki Jai. That took 10 minutes 30 seconds. I'm not sure if we should do this every program, because that's a big chunk of our program. I don't know. I kind of want to do it though, because then I will. It's really nice, and also then I'll start to memorize it. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Maybe I'll make a poll. Everybody can vote. All right, so done about pranams to everybody. Let's see who's all here. Nri Hari Prabhu, Bhavatarani Mataji, Nitai Mukeshji, Anadi Krishna Prabhu, Sarveshwari Mataji, Rukmini Didi, Jai Shri Didi, Gargarajji, that's Shukuda Didi, Ganga Mataji, Raseshwari Mataji, Indira Mataji, and I see 10 people on YouTube and Facebook. I only see the names of those who write comments though, so yeah, but pranams to all of you, pranams to all the devotees watching in the future. And yeah, so today we are going to go through the Sanmodana-bhāṣya. That's the Sanskrit commentary of Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura. We'll go through his commentary on the first verse. We're not going to read his entire commentary today because it's a long commentary. We'll read about half of it though. Oh, and if there's anyone here who knows Bengali, like Rukmini Didi, I know you, and maybe some other devotees are here, maybe Anadi Krishna Prabhu and some others. If you'd be interested in reading through the Bengali with me, I want to start doing that every day. Like before we read it in English, I'm reading it in Bengali, and I am scanning it all and I'm putting it through OCR and checking through it. So if anybody wants this, yeah, let me know. Okay. So verse 1 of Śrī Śikṣāṣṭaka. Now we're finally starting the book. Oh, and just one more thing. At the end of the program, after I do Jaidvani, for anybody who wants to stay longer, I'm going to read the glories of Śrīla Bhakti Vicāra Yayavara Gosvāmī Mahārāja from Śrīla Bhakti Vijñāna Bhāratī Gosvāmī Mahārāja's book, My Beloved Masters. But I want to end our Śikṣāṣṭakam program on time every day, so I'll end it on time, and then this will be an after extra thing for anybody who wants to stay longer. Okay. Okay, so what is the most excellent form of sadhana? That's what the name of this chapter is for the first verse. What is the most excellent form of sadhana? Okay, so we already went through this verse. Cheto darpana marjanam bhava mahadavagni nirvapanam shreya kairava chandrika vitaranam vidyavadu jivanam anandam buddhivardhanam pratipadam purnamrita asvadanam sarvatma snapanam param vijayate Shri Krishna sankirtanam. And I think, let's see, I think most of you know the meaning of this verse, right? So, Cheto Darpana Marjanam. It cleanses the mirror. Darpan means mirror of the heart. This Shri Krishna Sankirtan. And Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam. And it Nirvapanam, and extinguishes the Maha is great. Dava means forest, Agni, fire. The great forest fire of Bhava. Bhava is material existence. And then Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam. So it Vitarana means doesn't Vitarana mean spreads or like um diffuses, I think? What's the word that they use here? I didn't actually look at this before we started. So it says spreads the moonlight of spiritual ecstasy. Okay, so Chandrika means the moonlight, moonbeams of, so it spreads, Vitaranam, it spreads the moonbeams, the moonlight on the Kairava, on the white lotus of Shreya, of good fortune. And it is the Jivanam. It's the very life and soul of the consort or the bride, Vidya Devi. Vidya Devi, who is the bride of Krishna Sankirtan. Or the wife, or consort, let's say consort. Then Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam. It increases the Ambudhi, the ocean of Ananda, of bliss. And then Pratipadam, at every step, Purna Amrita Asvadanam. There's Purna, complete Asvadan, relish of Amrita, of nectar. And Sarvatma Snapanam, and it completely, thoroughly cleanses the self, inside and out, fully, Sarva. So Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. So this Shri Krishna Sankirtan is supremely, Param means supremely, Vijayate, glorious. All right, so that was my attempt. Maybe I'll look at the words and just, yeah, but this was just like my off-the-fly explanation of the meaning of the words. So now let's see the translation. It says, let there be supreme victory for the chanting of the holy name. Oh, whoops, wait, let me turn off the noise suppression. I think my voice went down, right? Okay. So let there be supreme victory for the chanting of the holy name of Shri Krishna alone, which cleanses the mirror of the heart and completely extinguishes the blazing forest fire of material existence. Shri Krishna Sankirtan diffuses the soothing moon rays of spiritual ecstasy, bhav, that cause the living entity's white lotus of good fortune to bloom. The holy name is the life and soul of transcendental knowledge, which is here compared to a wife. It continuously expands the ocean of transcendental bliss, enabling one to taste complete nectar at every step. The holy name of Shri Krishna thoroughly cleanses and cools the self, one's nature, and one's determination, as well as the body, both internally and externally. So now the Mangala Charan, that's interesting. I've never seen that, one's determination. That's very interesting. Anyways, let's see if that explains that in the commentary. So my Gurudev, before he ever starts any work, any book that he always begins it with Mangalacharan. So right now is my Srila Gurudev. He says, in spite of being very low and insignificant and thoroughly incompetent, I am engaged in translating this Śrī Sanmodana-bhāṣya by the mercy of my most revered spiritual master, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Ashtatarashata Shri Srimad Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosvāmī Mahārāja. Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura, the eternal associate of Shri Gaurasundar and the writer of the Śrī Sanmodana-bhāṣya, and the original author of Śrī Śikṣāṣṭaka, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the incarnation who delivers the fallen conditioned souls of Kali Yuga, and who is the very self-same personality known as Shri Nandanandan. Holding in my heart their lotus feet, which grant all desires, I am engaged in this work in order to fulfill their inner heart's longing. And now begins the Śrī Sanmodana-bhāṣya of Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura. Panchatatvan vitam nityam pranipatya mahaprabhum namna sanmodanam shikṣāṣṭaka bhāṣyam praniyate. Offering my humble obeisances at the lotus feet of the original Supreme Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the bestower of the holy name of Krishna and love for him, and who is eternally accompanied by his 4 primary associates in the Panchatattva. I am writing a commentary named Śrī Sanmodana on Śrī Śikṣāṣṭaka, which issued from the lotus mouth of the Lord. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 2.2.34, it is said, Bhagavan Brahma Kartsnena Trir Aviksha Manishaya Tad Adhyavasyat Kutasto Ratir Atmanyato Bhavet. How can there be any benefit for the living entities who are oblivious to the Lord, having fallen into the cycle of repeated birth and death in material existence? Preoccupied with this question, Sri Brahma, who knows the fundamental truths regarding the Lord, thought long to find its solution. With resolute attention, he scrutinized all the Vedas 3 times, and by his intelligence he concluded that the topmost perfection of religion is that by which one can attain exclusive love for Bhagavan Shri Krishna, who is the supersoul of all existence. This conclusion of Srimad Bhagavatam 2.2.34 clearly establishes that only devotion unto the Supreme Lord, only Bhagavad Bhakti, is the topmost process of religion, bestowing ultimate good for the living entities. Fruit of activity, the cultivation of knowledge aimed at impersonal liberation, the practice of yoga, the performance of austerities, and other processes do not bestow the ultimate good, and therefore they are not the topmost religious process. But this bhakti is extremely rare. It is obtainable only by transcendental faith, paramarthik shraddha. Such paramarthik shraddha, such transcendental faith, is of 2 kinds. There is shastrartha avadharanmai shraddha. That's faith that brings about engagement in the path of bhakti, inspired by the governing principles of the scriptures. And 2, Bhagavad Lila Madhurya Lobhmai Shraddha. That's faith that brings about engagement in bhakti due to intense longing, lobh, arisen out of some extreme good fortune by hearing about the unparalleled sweetness of Bhagavan's pastimes. Even if one of these 2 kinds of faith arises, unalloyed devotion, that's Shuddha Bhakti, can develop only by continuous engagement in pure Harikatha in the form of hearing, Shravan, and chanting, Kirtan, and the association of unadulterated pure devotees. If one does not regularly engage in such Harikatha in the association of saintly persons, his faith will gradually dwindle and then vanish altogether. In Srimad Bhagavatam 3.25.25, the Lord has said, Satang prasangan mama virya samvido bhavanti hritkarna rasayana katha. That means in the association of saintly persons, one has the opportunity to hear narrations that illuminate my glories and that are very pleasing to both the ear and the heart. By such engagement in hearing and chanting, saturated with love, ignorance is immediately destroyed, and faith and shraddha, intense loving attachment, rati, and devotion on the platform of divine love, prem bhakti, develop one after another. Therefore, by faithfully hearing and chanting about the names, form, qualities, and pastimes of Bhagavan in the association of pure devotees, pure sankirtan is possible. Otherwise, not. The glories of pure sankirtan are the very first things spoken of in the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because the chanting of Krishna's holy names is the very identity of all auspiciousness, the word param has been used in the 4th line of verse 1. The word param, meaning supreme, so this word param, supreme here, specifically indicates pure Shri Krishna Sankirtan, which is obtained in progressive stages beginning from faith, shraddha, followed by saintly association, sadhu sangha, and leading to the execution of the limbs of bhakti, bhajana kriya. It does not refer to Hari Kirtan that is within the jurisdiction of Pratibimba Bhakti Abhas. And we read in detail about what is Pratibimba Bhakti Abhas in our previous program going through Bhakti Tattva Vivek, but here's just a short definition. So Pratibimba Bhakti Abhas refers to a semblance of devotion that is undertaken by persons whose sole motivation is to attain liberation or promotion to the heavenly planets. So it doesn't even have any connection to bhakti. It's just a reflection, but no, it doesn't even touch bhakti at all. It's just like an imitation of bhakti. So in this Śrī Śikṣāṣṭaka, the ocean of mercy, Śrī Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, appearing like a practitioner of the devotional path, appearing like a bhakti sadhak, he is singing the glories of Śrī Krishna Sankirtan and of the transcendental form and identity of Śrī Krishna in order to enlighten the living entities with the truths of Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojan. So Sambandha is knowledge relevant to the development of one's relationship with the Lord, Abhideya, the process of devotional life, and Prayojan, the ultimate goal of one's devotion. In this commentary, the very same truths of Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojan are being discussed in summary fashion. And we know how Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura presents Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojan. He presents it through the Dashmula Tattva. So I think he'll go through Dashmula Tattva here. Basically, the points of Dashmula Tattva. Yeah. So Śrī Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the Supreme Lord of all and whose lotus feet are constantly served by pure Vaishnavas, says, Parang Vijayate Śrī Krishna Sankirtanam. In other words, let there be supreme victory only for the chanting of the holy name of Śrī Krishna. I just, maybe Rukmini Didi, if I'm wrong, it's not saying let there be supreme victory. It's just saying the chanting of the holy name is supremely glorious. Like it's isn't Vijayate, isn't that like what do you say, present tense? It's just saying it is supreme, right? I don't know. That's just, but I could be wrong. Okay. A question. Oh, I'm curious how Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura writes it. I think he just writes Param Vijayashish. Anyways, whatever. I'll look at this later. In other words, okay, so a question may be raised here. Can Śrī Krishna Sankirtan, which is non-material, which is aprakrit, and beyond the range of the illusory potency, it's beyond Maya. So can that Śrī Krishna Sankirtan become victorious in this material world created by the external energy? Yes, even in this illusory material world, Śrī Krishna Sankirtan can be thoroughly victorious. Please hear how this is possible. Okay, so now he's going to go through Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojan. Prominence of the personal feature of the Absolute Truth. This is the first section. From the statement of the Shrutis, the oneness of the Absolute Truth is established. This is expressed in the Chandogya Upanishad 6.2.1, Ekam eva dvitiyam. The Absolute Truth is one without a second. Another statement of the Shrutis establishes that the Absolute Truth is nirvishesh, that he is devoid of material form, attributes, and qualities. This is expressed in the Brihan Aranyaka Upanishad 4.4.19, which says, Neha nanasti kinchana. Other than the one non-dual absolute truth, other than the Advaya Brahma, there is no existence of any separate forms. Yet another statement of the Shrutis establishes that the Absolute is savishesh, possessing eternal attributes and qualities. This is expressed in the Chandogya Upanishad 3.14.1. Sarvam kala vidam brahma. This entire creation is the form of the Absolute Truth. Actually, I think this is supposed to be 11. At least that's what the Bengali said. Yeah. Anyhow. Okay, so the Shrutis describe the oneness, ekam eva dutiyam, and then how the absolute truth is nirvishesh, neha nanasti kinchana, and how the absolute truth is savishesh, sarva kala vidam brahma. Therefore, according to the Shrutis, the absolute truth is simultaneously savishesh, personal with attributes, and nirvishesh, without attributes, impersonal. The impersonal feature, however, is imperceptible. The mere non-possession of material qualities and attributes does not define what is the absolute, and thus it remains but a vague notion. But the personal feature directly ascertains what is the absolute by describing his transcendental names, his forms, qualities, activities, associates, and abode. Because of the intangibility of the impersonal feature, and because of the eternal tangibility of the personal feature, it is the personal feature that is prominent and superior. Now, 2, there are 4 features of the absolute truth. In his Bhagavat Sandarbha, Anuched 1616, Sri Jiva Gosvāmī, our Acharya on such philosophical conclusions, has stated that by the influence of his inherent inconceivable potency, his Swabhaviki Achintya Shakti, the one absolute truth eternally exists in 4 features. What are the 4 features? Swarup, Tadrup Vaibhav, Jivas, and Pradhan. So Swarup means his original form. His Swarup is his original form. Then Tadrup Vaibhav means his personal splendor, which includes his abode, his eternal associates, and expansions such as Lord Narayan. And then 3 is the Jivas, the living entities. And 4 is Pradhan, the unmanifest state of the 3 modes of material nature. Okay, Swarup, Tadrup Vaibhav, Jivas, and Pradhan. Then Jiva Goswami compares these 4 features to the 4 aspects of the sun. So Swarup, the Lord's original form, is like the effulgence situated in the interior of the sun planet. And then the sun globe is like the Tadrup Vaibhav, I'm guessing. And then the atomic particles of sunlight emanating from the sun is like the jivas. And 4, the reflected rays of the sun. That is like pradhan, the unmanifest states of the 3 modes of material nature, or the material energy. All right. Now 3, the absolute truth as potency and the possessor of all potency. And in Dashmula, this all I think could fall under the first one, how Sri Hari is he is the absolute truth, the greatest. He's the Paratattva, right? And now this is number 2 when we go through the Dashmula Tattva. Actually 3, because anyways, whatever. This is the second Prameya. So the absolute truth as potency and the possessor of all potency, Sarva Shaktiman. The absolute truth described above is further explained here. Bhagavan Shri Krishna, who is replete with 6 opulences, is the absolute truth. He is Sarva Shaktiman. He is the one who possesses all potencies. In the Brahma Sutra, it is said, Shakti Mator Abeda. There is no difference between Shakti, the Lord's potency, and Shaktiman, he who possesses all potency. According to this statement, Shakti and Shaktiman are non-different. But that one transcendental potency, known as Parashakti, is perceivable in different forms. Parasya Shaktir Vividhaiva Shruyate. That's Shvetashvatar Upanishad 6.8. From this Vedic mantra, it is proved that the Lord's inconceivable potency, known as Achintya Shakti, is adept in carrying out that which is unfeasible. In the material world, we cannot conceive of anything that is one and different simultaneously. If potency and the possessor of all potency are one, how can they be different? Yet, if the Lord's potency is one in all respects, how can it manifest in different forms as above stated? This inconceivable power is known as aghatana ghatana patiyasi. In other words, the Lord's Achinta Shakti makes possible even that which is impossible. Therefore, the eternal difference between Shakti and Shaktiman is also inevitable. The unqualified monists, the Kevaladvaitavadis, they advocate that the absolute truth known as Brahman is impersonal, formless, and divested of potencies. The conclusion established above, the conclusion established above proves that this opinion is contrary to the scriptures and to reasoning. Okay, so now what are those potencies? Now it's going to explain the Lord's potencies. 1. The internal potency. The one Parashakti, or superior energy, described above, is manifest in 3 forms. There's the Antaranga Shakti, the internal potency. 2 is the Tatastha Shakti, the marginal potency. And 3, the Bahiranga Shakti, the external potency. By the Lord's internal potency, the supreme absolute truth in his complete and original feature eternally exists as Bhagavan, who is devoid of all faults, supremely auspicious, and the basis of all transcendental qualities. In addition to this, the Lord's feature known as Tad-rupa Vaibhav, which refers to his transcendental abode, Vaikuntha Dham, his eternal associates, and the variegated manifestations of Lord Narayan, is eternally established by the same all-accommodating internal potency for the accomplishment of his transcendental pastimes. Okay, so the Lord's Swarup and Tad-rupa Vaibhav are both in this category of Antaranga Shakti. Now, next comes the marginal potency, the Tatastha Shakti. The same absolute truth, when endowed with the marginal potency, the Tatastha Shakti, exists as the innumerable, infinitesimal, conscious living entities who are separated expansions of the Lord, Vibhinangsha Swarup. Just as innumerable tiny molecular particles of light continuously shimmer in the rays of the sun, the numberless infinitesimal jivas exist like atomic particles of spirit in the ways of the Lord's marginal potency. The tiny molecular particles within the rays of the sunshine have no independent existence from the sun, nor can they ever be equated with the sun. Similarly, the infinitesimal conscious living entities have no separate existence from the Lord. Neither can they ever be addressed as the Lord, nor become the Lord. And now, number 3, lastly, the external potency, the Bahiranga Shakti. Again, the supreme absolute truth, Bhagavan, has manifested this entire material world, the display of his external splendor, by his inferior potency known as Bahiranga Maya Shakti. This material world is a transformation of the Lord's Maya Shakti, or Pradhan, which refers to the sum total of material existence. Just as the reflected rays of the sun create a colorful rainbow, the Lord's Maya Shakti, or Pradhan, manifests this fascinating material world. The material world is a shadow of the spiritual world, which is manifested by the Lord's internal potency. As such, the material world is also not separate from the absolute truth. Okay, and now we come to Achinta Bheda Bhed Tattva, simultaneous oneness and difference of the Lord and his potencies. From the above discussion, it is proved that the living entities, that the jivas, that the material world, the Jagat, and the Lord's personal splendor as regards to his Vaikuntha existence, his Tad-rupa Vaibhav, are inconceivably one with and different from his original spiritual form, from his Bhagavat Swarup. The infinitesimal living entities, on account of being dependent on the Lord, are separated parts and parcels. And this has found their non-distinction from the Lord, how they are abhed. However, due to an absence of knowledge of the Supreme Lord, they are preoccupied with the material energy. In this lies their difference, their bhed. What time is it? It's 7:51. So now Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura will go through. I think maybe we can stop here. Yeah, because we're going to read about Śrīla Bhakti Vicāra Gosvāmī at the end. So we'll end a little early today. But let's see what comes next. So now Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura, he will explain the process by which Hari Kirtan becomes successful for the living entity. Wait, let's see how long this is. Actually, no. Let's finish this section and then we will stop here, where he'll go through the 7 excellent results of Shri Krishna Sankirtan. Yeah. Okay. So the process by which Hari Kirtan becomes successful for the living entity. 1. The meaning of the living entity as marginal potency. Just as the sun's rays are covered by the clouds, the living entities are covered by the influence of illusion, of Maya, or ignorance, avidya. So the sun's rays aren't literally covered by the clouds. Our vision of the sun's rays are covered by clouds. So we're actually the ones who are covered, not the sun's rays. And so the living entities are covered. Krishna is not covered. The living entities are covered by the influence of illusion, by Maya, or ignorance. How is it possible for a conscious entity to be covered by matter? Yeah, how can consciousness be covered by matter? The pure consciousness of the living entity. In this, we see application of the principle of aghatana ghatana patiyasi, making the impossible possible. That which is impossible is made possible by the Lord's inconceivable potencies. The infinitesimal living entity, manifested by the Tatastha Shakti of the Lord, becomes covered by Maya on account of being an instrument for the Lord's pastimes in the matter of the material creation. Otherwise, how can the conscious jiva be covered by inert matter? Because he is manifested by the marginal potency, the nature of the jiva is also marginal. This means that he is prone to be influenced either by the internal potency known as Swarup Shakti or by the Lord's external potency known as Maya Shakti. When his connection with Swarup Shakti is established, he obtains the happiness of serving the Supreme Lord in the liberated condition. When the living entity desires material enjoyment, he is covered by Maya. The living entity, bewildered by Maya, suffers the pangs of material existence. But when he establishes his relationship with the Swarup Shakti, the external potency in the form of ignorance is dissipated. As a result, he is liberated from the material condition and becomes situated in his pure constitutional form, his Shuddha Swarup, his true nature. Two, the process of conquering illusion. So the first section was the meaning of the living entity as marginal potency, and now is the process of conquering illusion. The living entity, bewildered by Maya, is crushed again and again by the miseries of material existence. Becoming exasperated with these miseries, he may obtain the service of saintly persons by some great fortune. At that time, his faith awakens towards devotion unto the Supreme Lord as being the exclusive goal of the scriptures. Alternatively, he may awaken intense longing for the unparalleled sweetness of Bhagavan. This is a reference again to the 2 types of faith that one can develop, as previously mentioned. At that time, he attains eligibility for bhakti, which is predominated by the pleasure-giving aspect, by the hladini, of the Lord's internal potency. Upon the awakening of faith, he first of all takes shelter of the lotus feet of a spiritual master by accepting Harinam initiation from him. Thereafter, in the association of the spiritual master and pure Vaishnavas, he obtains an excellent opportunity to hear the truths of the scriptures. When he begins to perform kirtan of the holy names, the nam, the form, the rup, the qualities, the gun, and the pastimes, the lila of Shri Krishna, the process of conquering Maya begins. This means that his ignorance and the impediments that obstruct his spiritual progress, his anarthas, all begin to vanish. Simultaneously, the pure form of the jiva starts to become clear. This is the process by which Hari Kirtan becomes victorious within the phenomenal world of matter. By this process, Hari Kirtan makes its descent into this illusory world. By performing Hari Kirtan according to this system, one obtains 7 excellent results. These 7 kinds of results are spoken of in verse 1 by the words Cheto, Darpana Marjanam, and so on. Each of these will now be separately discussed. And we will read Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura's explanation of these 7 excellent results of Krishna Sankirtan tomorrow. All right, so that is our reading for today. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jai Shri Sachinandan Gaur Hari Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai. Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju Ki Jai. Nityal Jai Shila Gurudev Ki Jai. Jai Shila Param Gurudev Ki Jai. Jai Shila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga Ki Jai. Swapar Shachi Gaur Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Gana Ki Jai. Shri Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Jai, Shri Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Shri Purnamasi. Jai Shri Krishna Sankirtan Ki Jai, Jai Śrī Śikṣāṣṭaka Ki Jai, Shri Sachinandan Gaur Hari Ki Jai. The Sanmodana-bhāṣya of Śrīla Satchidananda Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura Ki Jai. Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Shinitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Jai Śrīla Bhakti Vicāra Yayavara Gosvāmī Mahārāja Ki Jai. Tadiya Shubha Abhirbhav Titi Ki Jai. All right, Dandavat Pranams, everybody. Nri Hari Prabhu, Bhavatarani Mataji, Nitai Mukesh ji, Anadi Krishna Prabhu, Sarveshwari Mataji, Rukmini Didi, and let's see who else is here. Gargaraj ji, Sukada Didi, Ganga Mataji, Gopali, oh Harival Gopali Mataji, Rohini Nandan Prabhu, and I don't know why I just showed that thumbs up, maybe because my hand is like that. That's so interesting. Anyways, and all other devotees, I'm guessing Indira Mataji is there and many others. Dandavat Pranams. Thank you so much for joining. So now we will, for anybody who wants to stay longer, we're going to read about Śrīla Bhakti Vicāra Yayavara Gosvāmī Mahārāja. All right. Where is it? Bhakti Vicāra Yayavara. There he is. Let's see how long this is. If it's too long, then we'll just read a part of it. Yeah, it looks pretty long. Okay, so we'll just read an excerpt from this. How long is this? Oh my God. It's like very long. Let's see. It is 5,521 words. Yeah, so that would be like a whole full program. We'll just read part of this. But yeah, if anybody wants to read the whole thing, you can get this EPUB version and also the PDF on vcvani.com. Just changing the style, making it a bit bigger, green, there. All right. So, Jai Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Bhāratī Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki Jai. Okay, so reading from his beloved masters. Accepting the shelter of Srila Prabhupada. Although Srimad Bhakti Vicāra Yayavara Gosvāmī Mahārāja's forefathers were originally from Orissa, he took birth in Durmut, Medinipur district, West Bengal. Srila Mahārāja, then known as Śrī Sarveshwar Panda, was still very young when he encountered Srimad Bhakti Prasunabodhāyan Gosvāmī Mahārāja, a disciple of Srila Prabhupada Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Ṭhākura in Jagannath Puri. I didn't know that Bhakti Vicāra Yayavara Gosvāmī Mahārāja is Oriya. Okay. Okay, so when he was still very young, he encountered Bhakti Prasunabodhāyan Gosvāmī Mahārāja and in Jagannath Puri. After hearing the teachings and glories of Srila Prabhupada through Srila Bodhāyan Gosvāmī Mahārāja, Śrī Sarveshwar Pandit took shelter at the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada at Śrī Purushottam Math in Jagannath Puri, and he was given the name Śrī Sarveshwar Brahmachari after receiving initiation. So he didn't change his name, Sarveshwar Pandit to Sarveshwar Brahmachari. The astrologer's prediction. Oh, who was asking me about astrology recently? Somebody was. I forgot. Anyhow, let's see. The astrologer's prediction. Once a famous and reputable astrologer read the palms of both Śrī Sarveshwar Brahmachari and another renowned Brahmachari. At the end of the reading, the astrologer confidently told them, "Both of you will marry and enter household life. It is definite. There is no way out of it." An astrologer told the same thing to me as well. And I was supposed to have gotten married like quite a few years ago, but it never happened. Although Śrī Sarveshwar Brahmachari was quite young, Srila Prabhupada wanted to give him sannyas due to his expertise in kirtan and his vast knowledge of Gaudiya Vaishnava Siddhanta. But because of the astrologer's prediction, Śrī Sarveshwar Brahmachari was reluctant to accept sannyas, fearing that the desire to marry may be latent within him. Sensing Śrī Sarveshwar Brahmachari's reluctance, Srila Prabhupada said, "Sannyas means to completely surrender at the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. Why are you fearful of taking shelter of Abhay Charanara Vinda Sri Krishna, whose lotus feet bestow fearlessness?" Śrī Sarveshwar Brahmachari received sannyas in 1936, and he was the last sannyasi disciple of Srila Prabhupada. He was given the name Śrīmad Bhakti Vicāra Yayavara Mahārāja. The other Brahmachari implicated in the astrologer's prediction eventually married, but Srila Yayavara Gosvāmī Mahārāja never did. Sometime much later, when the astrologer again met Srila Yayavara Gosvāmī Mahārāja, and when he looked at his palm, he said, "I don't know what to say. The lines on your hand have changed, and along with them, your destiny." I have heard from the Vaishnavas, Krishna Bhakta Jadi Hoy Balavan, Vidyar Kalama Kati Kore Kana Khan. If a devotee of Sri Krishna is very powerful, he can easily cut into pieces that which is written down as his destiny. Previously, I never had much faith in this statement, but I now see before me the evidence of its truthfulness. Bhakti truly can change a person's destiny. Okay, now in the next section. Do not be quick to praise anyone. They may become puffed up and fall down. Maybe this is related to what Sarveshwari Mataji was, we wanted to go over that verse about praise and criticism. Let's see if it answers what we were looking at that time. So do not be quick to praise anyone. They may become puffed up and fall down. Srila Yayavara Goswami Maharaj was Durdarshi. He was able to very clearly see all future happenings. There is one pastime in this regard. In 1960, my Guru Maharaj, Shri Bhakti Dait Madhav Goswami Maharaj, organized a festival at our Sri Chaitanya Gauriya Math in Vrindavan to celebrate the installation of the Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu and Sri Radha Govinda deities, to which he had invited almost all of his godbrothers, including Srila Yayavara Goswami Maharaj. Because it was such a large gathering, there was no single location large enough to provide both residence and prasad to all of the attending Vaishnavas. Various dharmashalas were thus booked, and the arrangements were made in such a way that the Vaishnavas would be able to honor prasad in their respective dwellings. During the festival, a very young devotee who had only recently accepted sannyas spoke Harikatha. Being quite learned and scholarly, he delivered his lecture in fluent English and quoted many verses from the Shastras. So he gave an English class to a bunch of Bengalis. Everyone was impressed to hear such a well-presented lecture. The next day, while honoring prasad, Srimad Bhakti Vikash Hrishikesh Goswami Maharaj, a sannyasi disciple of Srila Prabhupada, began glorifying the young sannyasi who had spoken the previous day. Srila Yayavara Goswami Maharaj and Sripad Krishna Keshav Brahmachari were also present in the room. Because I was responsible for providing and serving them prasad, I too was there. Hearing this praise, Srila Yayavara Goswami Maharaj immediately interrupted Srila Hrishikesh Goswami Maharaj by loudly saying, "There is no need to glorify this young sannyasi at this time. Although he surely spoke Harikatha nicely, being a new devotee, who can say how much he realizes in his heart of what he spoke? Speaking is one thing, but how fixed is he on this path? There is much time remaining in this life. Let him first live and grow in this Vaishnav world before glorifying him." There is a Bengali proverb. It says, "Morile jadi urale chai, tabe satyar guna gai." This means it is improper to call a woman chaste until she has lived chastely her entire life, up until the point when her body is cremated and her ashes vanish into the air. Then and only then can she be called chaste. Similarly, unless a person has displayed proper conduct and etiquette throughout his life, it is unintelligent to glorify him for whatever qualities he may have, like the ability to speak nicely. Mundane scholars can also speak nicely, but we generally see that they have no faith in Sri Hari, Guru, or Vaishnavas. Therefore, whatever qualities such a person may possess are simply material. Prior to this pastime, I had only known Srila Yayavara Goswami Maharaj to be immensely soft-spoken by nature. He was always straightforward and direct, and he spoke whatever he felt. In 1962, during the time of Kumbh Mela in Haridwar, it was found that the young sannyasi was not so fixed on the path of bhakti. There, he mixed intimately with women, and this caused him to leave the association of the Gaudiya Math sadhus. Afterward, he began criticizing everyone. Okay, so now his affectionate concern for God brothers. And we're going to read until 8:30. Right now it's 8:11. Once Srila Jajavar Goswami Maharaj went to Kalna, while Shishimad Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj was serving in the Ananta Vasudev temple there. When he met with Srila Puri Goswami Maharaj, he said, "You have taken responsibility for this temple, as well as different responsibilities at Sri Chaitanya Gaudiya Math. How can you manage all these things single-handedly? It would be better for you to invest your full time and energy in wholeheartedly serving at only one place." After accepting his advice, Srila Puri Goswami Maharaj dedicated his full energy to his services at Sri Chaitanya Gaudiya Math. Um, oh, Gopali. I was thinking it was the Gopali from Australia. Haribo Gopali, Didi. And Haribo, Rupa, and Raj. Very nice that you guys are able to join. Okay, so just engage in kirtan. Krishna will provide whatever is required. One day, the brahmacharis of Srila Jajavar Goswami Maharaj's Sri Shamananda Gaudiya Math in Medinipur became distressed upon seeing that there was no rice whatsoever to cook and offer to Thakurji. When they expressed their concern to Srila Maharaj, he immediately understood the situation and consoled them by saying, "Do not worry." Then, after locking the temple's gate from inside and keeping the key with him, he turned to the brahmacharis and ordered them, "Please speak Harikatha and perform kirtan for the pleasure of the Lord. There is no need to worry about anything, especially since you are devotees." After this, he proceeded toward his room on the second floor of the Math, where he began to chant Harinam loudly. After some time, someone began to knock on the temple's gate and call out for someone to come and open it. But nobody was able to hear him due to the loud kirtan and the brahmachari and nobody's able to hear him due to the loud kirtan the brahmacharis were performing in the temple hall. Finally, Srila Maharaj noticed from his room that someone was outside the gate. After one kirtan had finished and before the next started, Srila Maharaj dropped the keys from the second floor onto the ground floor and instructed one of the brahmacharis to open the gate and see who had come. When they opened the door, they found that the man who had been knocking was standing outside the gate with a giant bag of rice. When the residents of the Math inquired about who had purchased those provisions, the man replied, "I do not know. All I know is that someone asked me to deliver these things to this Math. I have no idea who he was." The brahmacharis asked, "Has he paid the fare for your rickshaw?" "Yes," the man replied. Because Srila Jajavar Goswami Maharaj was completely surrendered to the Lord, seeing the pain Srila Maharaj was experiencing upon being unable to offer bhog, supplied whatever was needed for this service. Wow. Jai. Just engage in kirtan. Krishna will award peacefulness. Thank you, Gopali Didi. Haribol. So just engage in kirtan, Krishna will award peacefulness. Srila Jajavar Goswami Maharaj used to sing wonderful kirtans from the core of his heart. Once the electricity went out while he was performing kirtan. Being unsure of what to do, the devotees became restless. Srila Jajavar Goswami Maharaj, however, immediately reacted, telling them not to become disturbed. He then began singing, "Bhajahure mana Shrinandanandana Abhaya Charanara Vindare." O mind, worship Nanda Nandan Shri Krishna, whose lotus feet bestow fearlessness. His conduct was a testament to his complete surrender to the Lord. In this way, he was never worried for anything, and he wanted others never to worry either. An omnipotent doctor. Once a devotee consulted a doctor regarding an infection he had developed from a hand injury he previously sustained. After examining the devotee, the doctor concluded that the only solution was to amputate one of the devotee's fingers. My God. He told the devotee to return for the surgery after a couple of days. Before returning to the doctor to have his finger removed, the devotee visited Srila Jajabhar Goswami Maharaj. After offering pranam to Srila Maharaj, he mentions that within a day or two, he would have to have his finger cut off. Hearing this, Srila Jajabhar Goswami Maharaj responded, "You must have committed some Vaishnava aparad, and the result is the loss of your finger. Quickly go and beg for the forgiveness of whomever you have offended. The devotee became grave and admitted, "Yes, I committed an offense at the lotus feet of a pure devotee. But that devotee has left this world. What should I do?" Srila Jajabhar Goswami Maharaj told him, "Go to the place where his body was cremated and beg and cry for forgiveness." The devotee followed these instructions, and afterward, when he returned to the doctor's office for one last examination before having his finger amputated, the doctor became astonished. He asked, "What kind of medicine have you taken? And from whom have you acquired such medicine?" The devotee replied, "I haven't taken any medicine. Why are you asking this question?" The doctor said, "This is incredible. When I previously examined you, there was no other option but to amputate your finger. But now I can see that there is no need for anything. Your hand will heal just fine by itself." Who but Madhav? This is a glorification of Srila Bhakti Madhav Goswami Maharaj. So every year, just after Gaur Purnima, many disciples of Srila Prabhupada would visit the mat of Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj in Koladweep to meet together and honor prasad. One year on this occasion, my Guru Mahārāja informed his godbrothers that there was an opportunity to purchase the appearance place of Srila Prabhupada in Jagannath Puri, and he suggested they purchase the lands collectively. After discussing the matter amongst themselves, a few of his godbrothers pledged whatever money they could, but the total amount was almost insignificant in relation to the amount needed. Feeling perplexed about what to do, Guru Maharaj mentioned, "We will have to think of another way to collect the required funds." At that time, Srila Jajabhar Goswami Maharaj mentioned one verse from the Nrsimha Purana. "Madhavo Madhavo Vachi, Madhavo Madhavo Hridi, Smaranti Madhava Sarve, Sarvakaryeshu Madhavam." So you hear this whenever they do the Swasti Vachan or like that, right? So the meaning is, Madhav is in one's words. Madhav is in one's heart. All saintly persons remember Madhav, the husband of Lakshmi, the goddess of wealth. In all, they remember Madhav in all their endeavors. Although the name Madhav in this verse refers to Bhagavan Shri Krishna, Srila Jajabhar Goswami Maharaj spoke the verse in reference to my Guru Maharaj, Shri Srimad Bhakti Dait Madhav Goswami Maharaj, and thus implied, Madhav Maharaj is in the words and the hearts of his godbrothers. All his godbrothers remember Madhav Maharaj because he is able to collect any amount of Lakshmi, any amount of money. Right? Because Madhav means the husband of Lakshmi. All his godbrothers remember Madhav Maharaj in all their endeavors. What then can he not accomplish? What is the need to rely on anyone else? Upon hearing this, Guru Maharaj understood that his godbrothers were blessing him by entrusting this service to him. After offering prostrated Dandavat Pranam to all of them, he gratefully accepted the entire responsibility of acquiring Srila Prabhupada's appearance place. His Seva Nishta. After the property of Srila Prabhupada's appearance place had been purchased, and while the mat was still under construction, Guru Maharaj arranged for a festival to be held there for the occasion of Srila Prabhupada's appearance day in 1979. He sent out personal handwritten invitations to all his godbrothers, that read, "Please bless us by attending this festival." Those who were able to attend arrived on the day of the festival. Because there had been no reply from Srila Jajabhar Goswami Maharaj, Guru Maharaj assumed that his invitation had been lost in the mail, and he immediately sent him a telegram. As soon as Srila Jajabhar Goswami Maharaj received the telegram, he packed a bag and departed for Jagannath Puri to attend the festivities. Generally, when a guest arrives at his destination, the first thing he wants to know is where he can keep his luggage, where he can bathe, and where he will be staying. Srila Jajabhar Goswami Maharaj, however, was not like this. When he arrived at the festival, the first thing he did was join the kirtan party. He considered, unless and until I do some service here in the mutt, what right do I have to ask for a place to even keep my bags? Let me first perform service. Only then will it be proper for me to request a place to stay. Such was his service mood. Wow, very nice instruction, huh? Always distributing mercy. Srila Jajabhar Goswami Maharaj would offer all his visitors prasad immediately upon their arrival. Once he was staying at a place where no musambis, that's a type of orange, were locally available. And so a visitor brought some from a far distance. Although these fruits were brought especially for him, he at once cut them into slices and offered them to all the devotees present. Such was his personality. His purifying kirtan. Part of Srila Prabhupada's last instructions to his disciples was for them to collectively preach the message of Sri Rupa Raghunath. Keeping this instruction in mind, my Guru Maharaj used to tell his godbrothers, somehow, by the will of providence, we are forced to stay in separate places and create different organizations. But in order to fulfill the desire of Srila Prabhupada, we should all meet whenever possible. In this way, he would invite all his godbrothers each time he hosted functions in our mutt, providing his godbrothers with an opportunity to speak about the glories and teachings of Srila Prabhupada. During one such festival, an invited dignitary, a judge named Durganath Vasu, who was also the Sabhapati, who was the chairman, he rose from his seat and informed Guru Maharaj that he had to leave for another engagement. Thus, the Sabha, the assembly, would conclude for the night. Guru Maharaj ordered me to assist the judge to his car and give him some prasad. After he offered pranam to Thakurji and the Vaishnavas present, we proceeded to walk together toward his car. In the meantime, Guru Maharaj had requested Srila Jajabhar Goswami Maharaj to perform kirtan, as he did not receive the opportunity to speak due to a lack of time. Abiding by his request, Srila Jajabhar Goswami Maharaj stood up and began performing a beautiful transcendental rendition of the kirtan, Narad Muni Bhajai Bina Radhika Ramana Nami. By then, the judge was already seated in the car and ready to leave. But upon hearing Srila Mahārāja's kirtan, he became so mesmerized that he exited the car and returned to his seat in the assembly. After the kirtan concluded, the judge requested Guru Maharaj, please bring the sannyasi to my house tomorrow. I have never before experienced the kind of bliss I felt upon hearing his kirtan just now. It was such a heart-melting and purifying kirtan that I want my entire family to experience this as well. I will send a car. You should all please come along with this Maharaj to my house for kirtan tomorrow. Wow. The meaning of the word kirtan. The meaning of the word jiva. Once, during an assembly in Sri Chaitanya Gauriya Math in Kolkata, Srila Jajabhar Goswami Maharaj spoke on one of the famous slogans of Vivekananda, Jive prema kore jai jan sheviche ishvar. One who has love for the living entities actually serves the Supreme Lord. Srila Maharaj said, according to this statement, only humans, men and women, are to be classified as jivas or living entities. Are not goats, chickens, fish, birds, and other animals also living entities? Do they not have ears and eyes? Will they not bleed when pricked? Do they not also eat, sleep, mate, and defend as humans do? Although they may reside in different places, like the water or the forest, they are all living entities. Therefore, why do the followers of Vivekananda eat such living entities? Do they build hospitals and schools only for humans because they believe only humans are worthy of love? In reality, all conscious beings are living entities, or jivas. When a person's understanding of Bhagavan is complete, he easily realizes that all living entities are part and parcel of the Lord. Thus, he'll naturally have love for all living entities, and not just humans. After Srila Yayavara Goswami Maharaj finished his katha, one gentleman stood up and said, Vivekananda was different from you sadhus. He was extensively involved with improving the welfare of all people by building hospitals, schools, and by doing many other types of charity work. But we do not see the sadhus of the Gaudiya Math performing such charitable acts. Srila Yayavara Goswami Maharaj then asked the chairman, a university professor named Śrī Narayan Goswami, if he could be allotted more time to respond to the gentleman's comment. However, Śrī Narayan Goswami said, "It is better that I, being a neutral party, comment on his statement." Addressing the gentleman, he said, "When you use the word jiva in this slogan, whom does it refer? To whom does it refer? For Bengalis, the word jiva also refers to the tongue. Does it then mean that you are serving Bhagavan by serving the tongue and giving it whatever it desires? All living entities are called jivas, not only humans. Why then do the followers of Vivekananda eat eggs, meat, and fish if they are supposed to love all jivas? If Vivekananda's followers accept that the word jiva refers only to humans, then what is the need for prisons? Should we not close all the prisons and serve all the prisoners whatever they desire, like alcohol, drugs, and so on? Is that really jiva seva? Will this be the equivalent to serving Bhagavan? I hope Vivekananda is not implying that we should serve such people who have no control over their senses or their desires to harm other living entities. Long before Vivekananda was even born, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave the perfect conclusion of the Shastras, Jive Doya Krishna Nam Sarva Dharmasar. The essence of all religious principles is to show compassion to the living entities and chant Krishna Nam. When the gentleman who objected to Srila Yayavara Goswami Maharaj's katha heard Sri Narayan Goswami's explanation, he apologized, admitting he did not understand the deep meanings of the scriptures and that he was attracted to Vivekananda's popular slogans without understanding whether or not they were in line with the scriptures. Oh, I have to end now. The people for cutting are my parent. Yeah, I have to leave for some work. So, Jai Śrīla Bhakti Vicāra Yayavara Goswami Mahārāja ki Jai. If anybody wants, you can read the rest of this. Go to vcvani.com and download My Beloved Masters. You'll find it on that website. All right, that's our program for today. See you all tomorrow to read the rest of Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura's commentary. Now he's going to explain the seven results, 7 excellent results of chanting Shri Krishna Sankirtan. So, all right, Hari Bol, Dandavat Pranams. Also tomorrow, maybe we'll go through the kirtan. That would be good. Yeah. All right, Hari
Thank
Bol.
you so much, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hari Bol, Sarveshwari Mataji. Hari Bol.
Thank you so much. So beautiful.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Thank you.
And Hari Bol, Hari Bol. And
Hari Bol.
very Hari Bol, Bhavatarani Mataji, Anani Krishna, everybody, Hari Bol. Dandavat Pranams.
Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.